All right, you're watching TVC Breakfast. Let's get to our next discussion now. As lawmakers, both old and new, count down to the June inauguration, those interested in various leadership positions have been speaking with colleagues and party men to improve their chances of clinching key seats in the National Assembly. But just like the Senate, members of the House of Representatives are intensifying moves to see that their preferred candidates emerge. And that is what we'll be talking about next. So joining us in the studio is Member-elect Ado Ogbadibu Okpoku Federal Constituency in Benue State and leader Nationalist Forum, House of Representatives Caucus, Honorable Philip Agbesi. It's nice to have you join us this morning.
Thank you very much.
Welcome.
Thank you.
Great. Now, I know that you are in the thick of the back and the forth of the politics, lobbying, meetings and so on as to who becomes the leader of the 10th National Assembly, especially in the House of Representatives. But when it comes to zoning, I wonder if it is taking shape as to where the leadership of the House of Representatives should be zoned to. Some have said that, of course, if the Senate is going to go down south, then the House of Reps should go up north or even north central, whatever the thing is. Give us a sense of an idea of what kind of discussions are going on.
Well, thank you very much. I want to quickly say welcome to our president-elect. I saw him on television yesterday, and so far so good. We can see that he's even looking far better than the time that he was campaigning, which is a clear signal that he's fully ready for the work. And as members of parliament, we're equally happy and working together because we want to work closely with Mr. President to make sure that we all deliver on our campaign promises and the various manifestos that we have read out during the electionary campaigns. Basically, what we are trying to do at the 10th Assembly, particularly for the House of Representatives, is to do things differently from what used to be in the past. And secondly, to equally make sure that we avoid some of the pitfalls that legislators have experienced in the past, so that at the end of our 4-year tenure, we'll all be able to go back to our people and say, yes, we have done our best and the people are happy. And for us to be able to do that, it is time for us to put behind us party differences, ethnic belongings, our religion, and all the things that used to divide us before now. And that is why recently we came up with the Nationalist Forum as a caucus in the House of Representatives to galvanize members of the various political parties, because the 10th Assembly, like you've seen the coloration, is actually a very unique one. The APC, of course, is the majority. Again, we have the People's Democratic Party, the NMPP, the Labour Party, the YPP. I can tell you again that SDP. this is the most complex, assembly as far as the history of this country is concerned. Having realized that we are working together, and I'm very, very happy that even members of the opposition, they share the same vision with our president, and we all work together, for the good of the Nigerian masses. So to that end, it is very normal that now that the presidency has gone to the south, at the National Assembly, we are also going to swap the offices to take some to the north and to take some to the south. So it is on that basis that it is now clear and obvious, because the Senate president at the moment is in the north. So that position will be going to the south, and the ones that are also in the north in the National Assembly will be going to the south, vice versa. But what we are doing differently at the Nationalist Forum is that we have come together with our zoning formula. And because majority people have been talking about speakership, nobody is actually talking about deputy speaker. It is not only the speaker that is going to lead the National Assembly. It is not only the Senate president. So, but what we have done differently at the Nationalist Forum is to look at these indices and to look at some of the basic issues like religion, ethnicity, though we don't want to talk about religion, because the 2023 electionary campaign was charged along religious lines. Nigerians lost the basis of merit and competence, a lot of people were cajoled. They voted along religious lines. To the glory of God, a true Nigerian president emerged out of the whole situation. So we also want to have a Nigerian speaker for the Nigerian people. So to that end, we at the Nationalist Forum have decided, to throw behind us our party differences, our ethnic lines, our religion, and all of that, to focus more on the competency test that is required for the leader of the National Assembly to emerge. One that will be a speaker for the members, and one that will be a speaker for the Nigerian people, and one again that will be a speaker even for his or her own political party at the same time. So it's going to be a three-way thing. And in order for us to galvanize this, we have worked on our zoning, which we have done for the Speaker of the House of Representatives. We have equally done our zoning for the Deputy Senate Speaker. We have done our zoning for the Chief Whip, and we have considered all these issues. And in the next few days, we are going to seek audience with Mr. President. You've seen so far from newspapers reports, members of the APC visiting President-elect. In the next few days, Nigerians are going to see members of the 10th Assembly, members-elect of the 10th Assembly from Labour Party, from PDP, and all of us going together. And that is going to be the first signal for Nigerians that the 10th Assembly is going to work for the people. So we as a group, from PDP, APC, Labour Party, YPP, we are coming together, to go and visit Mr. President, and that day we are going to present our zoning template. I believe that if the 8th Assembly or the 9th Assembly, had done a thing like this, there would have been a seamless working relationship between both arms of government.
How would you describe a consensus candidate? How would you describe consensus? You guys will be seeking consensus, right?
Yes.
Yes. How would you describe consensus in the context of who will be the speaker or be the deputy speaker, so on?
Well, before now, members of the various caucuses, members of the various political parties, were working. They had their candidates, and later they came up with zoning. That is to say that you already have the candidate before the zoning. It therefore means that as you are pushing for zoning, you are pushing for a candidate in mind. And that is very suspicious. But what we are doing at the Nationalist Forum as a caucus is to first of all take the competency test, look at the merit of the candidates who have presented themselves. Then we do our analysis. And by the time we do this, we subject it to a final vote by the larger caucuses, because we also have other caucuses that are members of the Nationalist Forum. And once a candidate emerges through that process, then we'll be able to present that candidate, as a consensus choice of the larger majority of the people, which is the Nationalist Forum. Because the House of Reps, we are going to be 360. Right now, we still have some supplementary elections to be conducted, and but by and large, we have about 358 members already. And if we are able to get the buy-in of 300 members before the day of before our inauguration day, and we present such a candidate to the Nigerian people, it will just be for us to go to the chamber that day and affirm that person as the leader of the House of Representatives.
Without regard to region or tribe, you just go for competency?
No, we are doing that. I mentioned earlier that we are taking into consideration of the fact that some of these positions that were in the north before now have to go to the south, and some in the north will also some in the south will have to go to the north. We'll take
so there's a
into
swap
consideration.
situation.
Yes, and even when we do this, members of the caucus will still go back to their political parties, because what we don't want to do is a situation where leaders outside the National Assembly bring in their advisory note at a time that because in the last 2 months after our election, we have been interacting, and we cannot tell, those who can actually lead the House. We have interacted with ourselves as colleagues. So, but a situation where you don't act and you allow people who are not going to be members of the National Assembly people who will not understand the workings of the House. Because today, like I mentioned, thank God, the president-elect is a Democrat and an ex-parliamentarian. Our vice president-elect is also a parliamentarian. Even the wife of the president, the first lady, is also a parliamentarian. So ordinarily, if we coordinate ourselves very well, they will be happy, as ex-parliamentarians, to be working with their younger colleagues to move the nation forward. Right. I'm sure Mr. President is very happy with his experience as a parliamentarian and being in the executive before, being a party leader, to work with all of us. And that is why we are taking into consideration some of these issues, like zoning, like party politics, and most importantly, because we don't want our various political parties to just throw names at us, and at the end of the day, we are not able, to galvanize the needed support for these persons, these preferred candidates. Some of the party leaders have not interacted with us one-on-one to know what we can do, our abilities and all of that.
All right.
So it is for us to suggest to party leaders and to suggest to Mr. President, those we think,
President-elect.
Yes, to President-elect, those we think can do the work for us, for the Nigerian people, and even for the President-elect.
All right. What are the considerations around regions that gave majority votes to the party that made it win in the first place, and regions that, the numbers when it comes to the votes didn't come much with, but there's a consideration of, okay, it is Nigeria, so let us see how we can balance things up as the case may be. What conversations did you hold within your caucus in that regard?
With all due respect, sir, the Constitution envisaged those idiosyncrasies before it arrived at 360 membership for the House of Representatives. So at the House of Representatives, we are all equal. We are there to represent our people, and no constituency is bigger or smaller than the other constituency. So our considerations are not on the basis of what gave. Of course, all of us who came there, something gave birth to something before arriving at our votes for us to come here. So we are truly the majority. And that is why you have the Labour Party, you have the PDP, you have the APC. So on the basis of our leadership, nobody is going to talk about who gave what to Mr. President. No, it is who delivered for the Nigerian people. And I'm happy that Nigerians are also happy at the faces of the people that they have elected to be in parliament. So what...
Does that not sound fanciful for a politician?
No,
all we want is, we want everybody to... But one person will come and say, wait, that man you are talking about, he gave you 0%. I gave you the whole of... We in my state, we gave you hefty numbers. Don't forget. Because the person will tell you, you come to us again.
There's another election.
You will come again.
All right. Before we get into that, let's go on a short break. Sam, you were asking him a question earlier.
Yes. Isn't it fanciful what you're saying? Oh, we all want everybody to become part of this thing. Equal. Although you gave us one vote, we still take you together, a person who gave 100 votes. I remember Buhari when he came in, he said, I'm not going to treat the people who gave me 1%, and
the 95% and
5%, and so on. It's bad rhetoric, but he didn't have to say it. But it doesn't mean that you won't acknowledge the fact that these people gave you 95%. And there must be a repercussion for ignoring them. And the people gave Buhari 5%. Incidentally, were the people it did more infrastructure work for than any other place in the country. That's the southeast. They have all the bridges and a lot of roads there and so on. That rhetoric itself does not match what he has done for the southeast, but they remember the rhetoric more than what he has done for them. So it's very important what symbolism we put out there in politics. So that's why I'm saying that, they're trying to get somebody for each position, whether it's the Speaker or the Senate President. You also have to do other things. You have to tell the people who gave you 1% and the people who gave you 90%. How can both of you agree? There has to be horse trading. It's not who has the strength. It is the place in the Bible says the battle is not for the strength.
For the strong.
For the strong. Neither is
the race to the swift.
Race for the swift. So the swift. But time and chance. So you have to give them time and give them chance to say that they know what they want to say, so that you can reach an agreement. That is why we are human beings. That is why we are not equal. That is the concept of a family. In a family, not when all the children are seated, some are more brilliant than others, some are better footballers than others, some are greater at telling proverbs than others. So when you come together, you use the proverb, I use the football, I use the brilliance. You bring them together and see how they can work together. It's as I said, you don't negotiate out of entitlement. You use your entitlement to negotiate. Yes.
All right.
Well, yes, I want to agree with you. And I think that's exactly what we at the Nationalist Forum are doing at the moment. Because like I mentioned earlier, we want to have a rancorous reps. One that is not an appendage of the executive, but one that is also not at loggerhead with the executive. Our purpose and aim is to work for the Nigerian people. Yes, we have listened to some of the contestants for some of these offices, like the speakership, and that is why at the Nationalist Forum, we have expanded the debate beyond the speakership to also say that if this region gets the speakership, this region should also get the deputy speakership.
What is the metrics of the regions like? Or are you at liberty to share with us where you have tentatively zoned those things to?
No, that will be a little bit disrespectful to President-elect if we do that. If I do that here, yes, we want to unveil it. But what is important is that we have people who have premised their debate on the basis of what vote their region gave to Mr. President. Some others have also premised their debate on the basis of what they have not gotten in the past and what they should have in this dispensation. There's also another group, which I totally subscribe to, is that having done the North and South zoning trajectory, I am competent to lead. I am competent to provide leadership in this direction. This is my legislative agenda for the House of Representatives. This is what I intend to do as the Speaker of the House of Representatives for the members. This is what I intend to do for the Nigerian people through the instrument of parliament. And this is my understanding of Mr. President-elect's manifesto. So for us at the Nationalist Forum, we will go for the last, which is the competent test. Because when I was voted by my people, Ofado Okpoko Ogbadigbo, to go to the National Assembly, my cardinal campaign promise was on the fact that they trusted my competence. In Ofado Okpoko Ogbadigbo, we have Muslims, we have Christians, and again, in the election of Mr. President, the issues that were used that led the debate in the 2023 election were totally different from what led to Mr. President's election in 2015, before the comment of, I'll give more to those who gave me 5%, and I'll do more for those who gave me 95%.
They continue to give me 5%.
Yes, you understand? But but in Mr. President's election, you see that, he won across the country. He won across the regions. I'll give you a good example. Benue, of all the northern states, is the most Christian of all the northern states. Despite all the campaign of Muslim winning ticket, he's coming to favor one religion above the other. The Benue people still look through that. And that is why we at the Nationalist Forum are saying that Mr. President-elect and the leaders of the party must allow us that for the first time we are having a president of the Nigerian people. Mr. President-elect won election in Sokoto, which is even the most northern and most Islamic of all the northern states. Yeah. He won across the country. And that victory is a clear sign that the people are moving towards competence, are moving towards merit, are moving towards the Nigerian People Manifesto. Yes, beyond the identities of religion. Because the atmosphere was so charged, there was bitterness everywhere. Very highly respected religious leaders, participated in doing all this. And for us at the Nationalist Forum, this is the time for healing. And for the country to heal, thank God for the position of Mr. President-elect. From the clips you have seen his arrival, loved by all Nigerians, people from even Labour Party and everywhere are welcoming him, receiving him. Unlike in the past when a president is arriving, only members of his cabinet are welcoming him at the airport. We saw what happened in Lugbe yesterday when the president arrived. Nigerians were jubilating to see Mr. President-elect arriving back in the country. So he's the president of the Nigerian people. And if Mr. President-elect has been voted because of his competence and what he has to offer to the people, I also believe that every one of us should also allow, the leadership of the National Assembly to also ascend through, what is acceptable to the members.
All right.
What they consider, again, to be the competent test.
All right. North Central, where you come from, I wonder what your interest is in all of this. Is there a particular interest that the North Central Caucus is fronting?
Just like every other region, we want to lead the House, we want the Senate presidency, we want the Speaker, we want the SGF, we want the Chief of Staff to Mr. President. But beyond that, beyond our individual, desires for power, again, we have our colleagues, that we are all working together. So for now, I know you want to hear that we have zoned the speakership to my region. I'm not going to say that. I'm a leader. But we want all these things. But beyond what we want as a zone, again, what the other people from other zones also want. And like I mentioned, in our forum, we have all the political parties participating. We had our meeting in Abuja on Monday. We also have other groups that are going around the country. And everybody, is talking about competence. What to give to the Nigerian people. Remember, after the Electoral Act 2022 was passed, more than half of the members of the National Assembly lost their primaries. Again, more than half of those who won primaries lost the election because of lack of performance. And some of us are students of history. We don't want to be thrown out by the people because we know people who even lost the election before the election. We don't want to be thrown out by our people after 2 years for lack of performance. So we will go for a speaker, a deputy speaker, House leadership that will aid us to be able to perform our duties so that when we visit our people, they will be happy with us. And if we want them to vote for us another day again, for this office or for any other office, they will be glad and happy to vote for us again. So for me, it is not a sojourn, it's not an excursion in Abuja for 2 or 3 years. I have come to represent my people. I know what my people want, and I believe my colleagues from the meetings that we have been having, they know exactly what they want to do for their people, using the instrument of parliament. And for us to be able to do these things, and when we are allowed to do these things, even our political parties will be happy. It will make elections in the future for those who will succeed us to be easier. Because a situation where you have won election today as a member of the All Progressive Congress, and in the next 4 years, the APC can no longer win election in that constituency as a result of your performance, I don't think any political party will be happy with that. And that is why we are coming up with a template that will be able to stand on this template and tell Mr. President-elect, adopt this template for the House leadership, and we'll give you all you want to succeed for the Nigerian masses.
Now, you said that you guys are going to see the president-elect from different political parties.
Yes.
Are coming together as one to go and see him.
Yes.
But we're also hearing a different narrative that the opposition want to come together so that they can produce the speaker because they have great numbers and they want to beat the APC and get their own people there. Well, what about your response to that narrative?
Well, it is very normal in Parliament for people, especially those who consider themselves as the old members. Some are very fast, some are very quick. They want more for themselves. Today, the number is against this category of persons. We have about 280 new members in quote, people who are just coming into parliament for the
Fresh
first time.
members, yeah.
Yes.
Freshmen.
So, and majority of us in the Nationalist Forum belong to this new block of people who are just coming. We understand that the House standing rules are against us today, in leading the House. But again, you recall that sometime in the past, Godswill Akpabio was just coming and he was made the minority leader of the Senate. That is to say that the House standing rules in some situations can as well be relaxed, for the leadership to be formed. Having said that, I think...
Are you looking at that possibility at this time around?
No. Okay. You see the current situation...
How does it work? Because it has been something...
Yes, no. Before...
You have to use the rules that the former House used to to decide how you pick your
principal officers. Yes, that's what the law. That's what the law says.
The standing rule.
That's the standing rule. It's not the law.
Yeah. The standing rule. Yeah. The standing rule will apply strictly for the day of inauguration. And what happens on the day of inauguration is just the election of the speaker and the deputy speaker.
Is there a capacity? Is there a possibility of changing that standing rule?
Of course.
So, okay, we are together now. We don't want the rule. Anybody can be speaker. Anybody, whether freshman or freshman.
Of course. Remember that the National Assembly is the home of doctrine of necessity.
Yes.
If upon inauguration, and we get into the chamber, and we come together as the larger majority of the people in parliament,
and we vote a new freshman.
No. After the speaker and the deputy speaker must have a mind.
No, I'm talking about freshman. No, I'm talking about speaker and
deputy speaker.
No. You see, we don't want to go back to 2015 when this allegation of forgery, the people doctored the House standing rules and all of that. We don't want that. This 10th assembly...
No, I'm just saying that it's not possible. I mean...
No,
is it not possible for you guys to meet at the inaugural session and just say, okay, we want our own standing rules
and adopt something new?
And adopt it new from speaker down, from Senate president down.
No,
what is the obstacle to that?
It is the provisions of the law.
Is it the law or the standing rules? Standing rules can be changed.
It can be changed, but not by members elect and not by senators elect.
Did the law say that?
Yes.
Which law? In the Constitution?
No, in the standing rules
of the House. Rules are made by
you must first gain access into the House before you begin to access those things. In the position of the law today, we are still members.
You're using the word law. It's not law.
Rules.
No.
Rules.
You are a journalist.
Yes.
It doesn't matter what you call it.
It matters.
No.
It matters.
No, the Constitution is a law.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
The bylaws you see on the street, even the smallest one, I saw some this morning. Don't urinate here. There are laws. If they are made by the local government.
There are laws, yes.
Yes.
Those are different from rules.
No, what put laws together is a body. Even the constitution of simple groups like Okada riders, once they draft a document and they say we must be guided by this document, it becomes the law.
It's not the law.
Anyway,
it's their own rule.
That's their own rule.
Right.
No, that's not the
issue. It could be seen as whatever the thing is, but I think the Constitution, which is the ground norm,
the Constitution permits every member.
Based on
even if it is the law, you guys are the law.
Yeah, but based on the principles of delegated legislation, the Constitution has given the powers to different institutions to make their own standing rules.
Like I said, we don't want to go back to 2015.
Is it that you don't want to, or you don't have the power to? There are different things.
No, we don't want to even contemplate the power to take us back.
You're afraid of exercising that power?
No. You see, our democracy has evolved beyond that. And you see, like I mentioned earlier,
what is wrong with that?
No, 4 years.
What is wrong? No, I want to know what is wrong with the 10th Assembly coming together and saying, we want to change the rules for ourselves. There's nothing wrong with that.
No, there's nothing wrong with that.
That's what I'm saying.
No,
I just want you to have the courage to say.
No, we do. No, we do. As a matter of fact, the 8 aspirants for the speakership, or those aspiring for the Senate presidency, for the speakership, which concerns me basically, we don't have any new member of the House saying, I want to be the speaker.
Is that out of fidelity to the law or out of cowardice?
No. It must be fidelity to the law. And again, you see, it's
so it's out of cowardice.
No, not. It's about people's preparedness and mindset for leadership.
You are saying the same thing.
Yeah, that's what makes
that they are not strong enough.
No.
Yeah, you guys are not bold enough to say.
No, we have not. No, we have not.
You don't have the boldness to get onto the throne of grace.
No, I think if it was on the basis of boldness,
yes.
If it was on the basis of boldness,
yes,
some of us wouldn't have been elected to come.
Well, you're not bold enough, maybe.
No.
You're bold enough to get elected, not bold enough to lead the House.
No, we will lead the House sometime, but not now.
Yeah,
sometime in the future.
Yeah. Your patience, your boldness has patience.
No, experience is also very important. You can't just be coming into.
And that is part of your consideration.
Yeah, that is part of our consideration.
So by your patience, you possess the soul of leadership.
Amen.
All right. Now, the point there is, you're talking about the National Assembly, all of you coming together to say this should guide how we should come up with the leaders. And you said you'll be meeting the president-elect soon. What if the president-elect also has a template that he will hand over to you? How would you marry that? How would you bond that together?
That is the beauty of democracy. And that is why today Nigerians are happy that a true Democrat has been elected by the Nigerian masses to serve as the president of this country. By his tendencies, his posture, and his antecedent, he's not the kind of leader who imposes on people what they don't want to do. Again, he's also a listening leader. Some of us read about him from a distance, even though I'm from Benue State. I visit Lagos, and I know I've read a lot of books about him, and I've interacted with him in one forum or the other. So, again, because we all want to work together, our template is not going to be cast on stone. It is going to be subject to deliberations, negotiation, and consideration by other forces. So even this template, we have given the template to members of the various political parties to take back to their party leadership. What we want is a system that works for the Nigerian people. The president is part of the system. He's only privileged to be the one to lead the country from May 29. He's also going to be working for the Nigerian people. And the Nigerian masses are also going to be working for him.
So you're saying the whole thing that you don't negotiate out of entitlement, you get your entitlement out of negotiation.
Yes. Basically, we are not coming, because even some people like the group of opposition you mentioned in the House, who earlier said that with their numerical strength, and that is now in the past.
Because they don't have the numbers.
They no longer have the number. The APC has crossed the Rubicon. Before the supplementary elections, we didn't have up to 182. Now we have 182, which is the majority to form. But again, we are even saying that that alone is not enough. We want a leadership that the Labour Party will be proud of. We want a leadership that will be respected by the NNPP. We want the leadership that YPP from Anambra, they have just 2 members. But we want the leadership that the YPP from Anambra will be happy to say this.
Is that not the tall order?
No.
Yeah, everybody cannot like you.
No, but in a democracy, once you have the majority, of course, like they always say, that they will have their say. The majority will have their way. But again, if I am to be the Speaker of the House, I will prefer a situation where, to the largest possible best, I'm able to work with all the members. Because we are working for the Nigerian people. When you disagree with that member, you are disagreeing with a population of Nigerian citizens somewhere. And again, I believe that members of the 10th Assembly are very reasonable people. We will not take it too high for the leadership. And we will also not go too low. So there must be some level of moderation.
Horse trading. This is time for horse trading.
Yeah,
Exactly.
All right. As we round off gradually, you represent Ado, Ogbadibu, and Okpoku Federal Constituency. We are aware of some of the security challenges in places like especially Okpoku that is under your constituency. Talk to us about what role you'll be playing to draw attention to the security challenges within your constituency.
I articulated some of these things in my campaign promises to the people. Those situations existed not because the members, the senator or the reps or even the assembly members were not shouting enough. So I am not coming to Abuja to shout for the world to hear me. I believe that there are certain peculiar situations that are yet to be addressed. And that once we're able to address some of these situations, the security situation will definitely change. So we don't have to wait for Abuja. We don't have to wait for the state government. The issue of youth restiveness is as a result of lack of employment for our people. When people are gainfully employed, they won't have time for kidnapping. So we must, like I promised my people, we are going to fashion out strategies to bring about massive employment for the people. For instance, in Otukpa, which is a major community in my constituency, it is known everywhere in the world that we produce palm wine. In Oukpa, there is coal there. The mining activities taking place in Oukpa today is being carried out by people who don't even have the license. And the few who have the license are mining, are not giving anything in return back to these communities.
They're not drinking too much palm wine and making them to go and take license that does not belong to them.
No, when I mention palm wine, I'm even talking about what today we don't have any power plant, any industry to do anything out of palm wine. So the palm wine is locally
even the
produced.
Palm tree.
Yes, even the palm tree.
Yeah.
So what I'm trying to say in essence is that if we're able to industrialize my federal constituency, locate cite some industries based on the available resources.
In fact, people say that Benue State, the whole of Benue State can feed the two Nigeria.
My village, in sometime around 1989, 1990, there was even an exploration activity conducted by the NMPC, and we were told that there's crude oil in my village, but nobody is talking about it. So I believe that if we are able to cite some industries if we're able to attract some industries to my federal constituency, engage the youth, it is going to reduce this restiveness by the youth 50%.
I want to talk to one thing. Yeah, you have two prominent clerics. You're rounding up.
Yeah,
two prominent clerics in Benue. One on the Catholic side, the other on the Pentecostal side, and the one on the Catholic side was for one party, the one on the Pentecostal side was not only against the other party, was so vehement, and so on. I'm looking at it as Benue became a kind of a test ground for Christian opposition, right? Internal Christian opposition. Instead of we have Christian-Muslim war, it was Christian opposition. What is your view about what happened? Because I was saying that if we are to follow that, it means that the Holy Spirit was fighting against itself.
Well,
and the Bible says, a house divided against itself shall not stand.
Well,
very quickly.
Yes, I want to be very modest about this because I don't want people to think that my comment is out of hatred for a particular person or something. But again, the scripture has said that God is not a man, so he cannot lie.
Yes.
So if God is not a man and he cannot lie, it therefore means that the outcome of the election, like we have seen, anything outside this outcome wasn't by God. So it therefore means that if you, I will borrow from Reverend Father Mbaka, because he has said to all the clerics that you people failed the people because you didn't hear from God. So I don't know the clerics you are talking about in Benue, but what I know is that he didn't hear from God.
All right.
Those who heard from God have been voted.
All right, Honorable Philip
The
Agbesi.
voice of the people, the
voice
voice
of
of God.
It's a good way to end it. Thank you so much, Philip Agbesi, the House of Reps elect from Ado Ogbadibo Okpoku Federal Constituency in Benue. Thank you so much for coming.
It's a pleasure.
Thank
you
you.
so much.
Right.